Good evening, Jalen. Thank you for coming on Sports Talk with C.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful for this moment.
Yay, that's what I love to hear. So tell me about a little bit where you're from and a little bit about who Jalen is.
Yeah, sure. So I am from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm literally like maybe 20 paces away from Morgan State. Like my house is here, Morgan State's right there. So
Ooh.
grew up around a lot of culture, which is like actually the complete opposite of what I'm dealing with now. So right now I am a grad student at Assumption University in Worcester, Massachusetts. Very different vibe, but we did 4 years, so we decided to do one more. Right now, I'm getting my master's in business administration and management, and last year I got my bachelor's in organizational communications with a minor in marketing.
Oh, nice. So what does it feel like being away from home after being in that culture for so long?
Oh, it is honestly, I've gotten so much, it's gotten really better. I've gotten used to it. Ever since I started college, I've always been away. So my freshman year, I actually was at a whole other different school. It was in Long Island, New York. It was called LIU Post, Long Island University Post.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always been away from home. I kind of wanted to get away from home. I didn't really want to stay because I just wanted to just venture out, really come into my own and see how I would like it. Because, I'm a really sociable person. So I feel like staying in one place like that I've been like my whole life, I kind of wanted to see what else was out there. So it's been good. This is definitely going from Baltimore to Long Island to Worcester. It's definitely been a big transformation just based off the people, the culture, things like that. But I try to make the best situation out of everything, and it's been going so well so far.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. Speaking of culture, what was it like for the basketball culture growing up for you in Baltimore?
It was amazing. I actually got the opportunity to have my dad coach me. I know, right?
Yeah.
That was definitely a big plus for me. So I started off, I would say, like little leagues. I would say I went to like the closest recreational like center near my house. I think it was maybe 15 minutes away. I'm blanking on the name, but my dad knew the coach, so it was still nice to have like that little family connection there. And then in AAU, when I started AAU around like 12, 13 years old, my previous coach knew my dad too. So that's kind of how I got into AAU. So it was nice to have that smoother transition. I know some girls just from elementary to AAU and it's a big gap and people don't really know how to deal, but I kind of had a smoother transition. And then going along from AAU into high school, we had a coach. I went to IND, which is Institute Notre Dame in Baltimore, Maryland. And I had a coach for 1 year, my freshman year. He was great, really nice, really hardworking, really helped me to understand how different AAU was from high school basketball. But he sadly left my sophomore year, and then my best friend's dad took over. And then my best friend's dad asked my dad to help assistant coach the team. And ever since then, I've been with my dad for that long. So it was definitely a big shock to go from having your dad be your support system, be your coach, be your rock for so many years, trade for a whole new coach. It was a transition, but I loved it. I don't think I would trade that experience for anything. I think it really brought me and my dad closer. Our bond is so unbreakable, and it's just so I was just so blessed, I guess, to get that experience with a parent. So it was really nice.
So speaking of that bond that you have with your dad, because there's so many dads that want to be their child's coaches. So what are some ways that you got through the difficulty of that? Because the way you're talking, it seemed like daddy didn't play no games when it came to basketball. So what are some ways that you worked on, putting away being the daughter and then being the basketball player?
Yeah, of course. That was definitely a big transition. And that's honestly, that was a grateful experience that I got to experience as well, because I know some girls don't get that opportunity. So I would say it was hard. It was not easy at all because, like sometimes parents, they can't cut off the coaching perspective and, switch back to being the dad. So some days I had to, we had struggles and we had arguments and little disagreements because we both couldn't take basketball out of family. So there were some days I'd be like, hey, Coach Chris, I'm your daughter, dad. So,
Like, bring it down a notch.
and it was so crazy because I would forget as well. So I would literally, after the game was over, we'd go home. I'll be like, Coach Chris, dinner's ready. He goes, excuse me? I go, oh, Dad, sorry. You know what? That's me. So it was a struggle, I would definitely say, especially growing up. I would say like around like 13, 14, 15, like really trying to come into my own because I always have and always will be a daddy's girl. So that was one thing I definitely feel like was like the breaking point in our relationship, which made us even closer because while I was also dealing with basketball, I was also dealing with the fact of I was his daughter and I was going through, my own little transitioning from elementary to middle school to high school. And then, trying to like become my own person at that time. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely say it was hard, but I think we both went into it with an open mind and just the remembrance of just genuine love. Like at the end of the day, like he's doing this and he's pushing me because he loves me and he wants the best for me. And I'm speaking up more and defending myself because I know that as much as he loves me and is pushing me, I have to still like help him remember like, hey, like I'm your daughter. Like I understand where you're coming from, but like listen to me from this perspective as well. So it was hard. It definitely was not easy. We definitely had a lot of ups and downs in that relationship, but I would never, ever, ever trade that experience for anything because I genuinely think that made us closer as a father, daughter, and as a coach and as an athlete.
Well, we'll put that, that experience on hold for a second because I do have a question I do want to, stem from that, but I do want to ask you, where did this love for basketball come from? You talk about playing the Little League, AAU, high school. So what was the reason you picked up a basketball? Was it because of your dad or was it some other reason?
Yeah, so it was so funny. Even when I was younger, I've always been an active kid. My dad, he was a football player, so he played in the CFL and he played in the NFL as well. So,
oh, nice, go Dad!
Woo!
I can imagine how that coaching was.
That's what I'm saying, right? Oh my gosh! But he's definitely gotten so much better. But just based off that, his background, he loves coaching. Like he's always been a coach, like whether it is basketball or it is football or anything that he could get his hands on, any ball he can get his hands on, baby boy was going to be a coach or something. So always that's just the dog in him for real. But yeah, so I've always been around some type of sport. So when I was younger, I was around football all the time. At that time when I was younger, my dad was coaching high school football, specifically at Mergenthaler High School, which is Mervo, which is like absolutely maybe like 10 minutes away from Morgan State. Okay. I was always around them. I was around the cheerleaders. I was around the football players. So with that being said, I just always had so many opportunities and so much access to sport. And with the love of me just like being active, I wanted to try as many as possible. So I would say like when I was younger, I started off with like T-ball, like my parents got me into T-ball. And then I stared off being a cheerleader because, the girls look cute. I wanted to do a little cheer,
hey, that goes. That's me. I love cheerleading.
Realized I couldn't do it. It was just a little too controlled, a little too peppy for me. So then I started going into soccer, and then into soccer, I went into lacrosse, and lacrosse, I went into tennis.
Oh, so you tried everything.
Yeah, I tried everything. That's what I think I love the most about my parents. Like, they allowed me to do different sports, and then that helped me hone on, okay, what was my favorite sport? Okay. So after doing all those, while all doing that, I was still doing the little, like, basketball workouts, like how the elementary school has little, like, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, you're doing a little workout stuff. So I just dabbled in anything. And then I was just like, you know what? Like, I love basketball the most. Like, if there's one thing that I can see myself doing in the future is basketball. And my parents rode with it. And with me saying that and us rolling with it, my parents definitely did not back down from that. Like, when I told them I wanted to do it, they pushed me as hard as I could to be the best player that I am today. And it is hard. I would definitely say, especially like former athletes like ourselves, like when you're young, like you just want to have fun, like you're not really here for the wins and losses and, but like, and all the work that we put in. But like, I feel like my parents understood that from the beginning. So it was hard. I did honestly around, I was like 13, 14, I did kind of fall out of love with it just for a little bit because I didn't understand how much work had to be put in. And I didn't think, honestly, I was as dedicated as others at that time. So, but my parents were so supportive of it. They were just like, hey, listen, like, we're not going to force you. Like, the last thing we want to do is force you and make you fall out of love with the sport even more and then with us. Like, they wanted me to come tell them everything that I was feeling about any type of sport, any way I was feeling at that time. And that break was needed. And it was so funny. Like, this is why I generally knew like basketball was a thing for me because it took me 2 weeks. I was out of basketball.
I was about to ask you, like, how long did it last? What were ways that you got through it? But 2 weeks? I mean, you just needed a little break.
2 weeks. My parents, like, I was just watching all my friends from middle school be like, hey, like, we're going to practice or we're going to go work out. And I was just like, okay, like, see you guys later. And I would go home and I would just be like I would itch for basketball. Like I would itch for it. Like I was just craving it so much. And then I told my parents, like, you know what? I love it. I can't stop. Like I got to keep going. And then once again, my parents were back on board and they were like, we knew it. We knew it. We would
had to see.
Yeah, like we was going to see for ourselves. But that's how I definitely knew I loved the game as much as I do now.
That's dope. So when did you first start watching basketball, and who would you say was your favorite player growing up and or now?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, are we talking about WNBA or NBA? Oh, okay. Wow.
Oh, girl.
What a good people out there.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely a lot of great people out there.
Oh, many. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, start off with the first question. I definitely would say, honestly, I wasn't a big watcher, which is so funny. I started really getting into it, honestly, like freshman year of college. Like,
wow.
I know, it was so funny. And that's, I've always been more of the, like, I want to play. Like, I don't care watching it. Like, I want to play. Like, I want to be the one that's watched, if that made sense. And then I also had other hobbies. Like, I think I've dabbled in everything. Like, I was not just the basketball girl. Like I was like the Glee Club. Like I was like anime club. Like I did so many things that distracted me from just honing in on basketball. And I think that's also what has helped me stay attached to it now because I have different hobbies and I have different activities that I like to do outside of basketball. So I didn't really start until like freshman year of college, and my roommate, she's a big sports lover. She would come back and the game would be on and I would, be at my little desk doing my little business and the game would be on the side and I'd be like, oh, won. Oh, okay.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, so I slowly started getting into it. And now, like, I love it. Like, I think every time I walk into my room now, like, it's ESPN, like, ESPN First Take, like, NFL Countdown, like, NBA Countdown. Like, I love just watching sport. And I think what I like the most about it is just honestly just seeing different players and just different sports and different people doing their own thing and just seeing like what makes a good athlete if that makes sense. So I don't just watch basketball, I watch NFL. I just recently watched Serena Williams in the US Open. Amazing. I think that was honestly
that comeback. Like what?
I know she got some years, but like it was just so amazing to see her as just an athlete, just hone into her skill, remember where she is, remember her technique and her training and how far she's come, and honestly be grateful for it. Like I think I've never seen a more grateful athlete than Serena Williams. So it was a great chance, and it helped me to also remember like why I love watching multiple sports. But going off the second question, Serena is not my favorite person though, but she is up there. Right now, I've always loved Diana Taurasi. Like, she has been, is honestly like I would love to like have an alter ego of Diana Taurasi. Like, she just has that hard work. She just has that grit in her. Like, I don't care how you feel about me, what you think of me. I know that I'm going to work my butt off and I'm the best player on the court. And that, like, I'm not really like that. I'm more the calm, funny, sociable, bubbly girl. So it's just so nice to see a different person with a different persona play the same position as me and just see her do what she has to do. And that also just helps me to understand like just how much confidence it takes to be an athlete. Like not everyone's gonna like you. Like that is one thing I definitely have realized and being a college athlete. Like not everyone's gonna like you. It doesn't matter. You don't matter who likes you. Don't care. It doesn't matter if your opponent likes you, if your coaches like you. You know who you are. You know the work you put in. You know the time you put in. Now you just got to go out there and just do what you got to do and just leave it all out there. So she's definitely the top. Like I love her so much. I will forever root for her. I don't even care.
She loves you. She will forever rooting for you. So we gotta get this link up.
Yes. If she, oh my gosh,
we're gonna speak that into existence. That's what we do on Sports Talk with C. We speak things into existence. So we're gonna speak you meeting DT into existence. Okay.
If I get to see her, I ever see her. I just want to ask her, girl, what happened when you and Skylar Diggins on the just let me know, like, because you was ready to risk it off for that one. Like, I know you got some grit in you, but
it was heated. I was like, okay.
I was like, well, you might as well win now. Listen, you got the whole team riled up. You might as well win. So hopefully next year, rooting for the Mercury again. But that was such a good series. I don't know if you watched the WNBA, so good. Oh my gosh,
you
Chelsea
see who's right there. You see who's right here, so you already know.
And I was rooting for the opposite team.
Right. I mean, listen, I had my first year experience in media covering the Connecticut Sun this year, so I was able to cover the finals games this year. So it was absolutely amazing. The organization is absolutely amazing, and being able to witness the Aces win a championship, be in the post game when Kelsey Plum is having her boombox. I was there. I have my own recording of that. So to have that experience and loving basketball is absolutely amazing. So
it's amazing.
Yes, the WNBA is something I've been tuned into because it is dope, and everyone need to get on board because they definitely don't know what they're missing.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I am so sick and tired of me always going, like a few weeks ago, we were all talking about the WNBA finals, and then like my men's basketball team, like, they don't really watch it. They were like, what's so good about it? Why do you do that? Like just the stigma around it. Right.
He plays so tough, so I don't know what game they're watching or what they want, because you get old school basketball with Alyssa. So I don't know what you guys want to see. I think they just want to see themselves at this point.
Genuinely. And it's just like, I get the dunking. Okay, babe, like we get it. Like, but that's not like, other than that, like we are doing the exact same things, the exact same pace, the exact same want. And I'm just so happy to see the WNBA honestly being honored every year as it goes on. Like, it's nice to see that people are having open mind, and like the NBA and the ESPN are really like putting them now as headliners on ESPN. That was not like that a few years ago. So it's just nice to see that they're actually trying to level out the playing field. Definitely not equal it, but just definitely level it out.
Because this is ridiculous. You see that post about the mascots?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That
exactly. I was like, what? Like, I'll go be a mascot. I'm in the wrong profession. I'm in the wrong profession. I'm gonna go be a mascot. I'll be the lower mascot at that. I won't even be the big mascot.
When I saw the average pay for the mascot, and when it was like 40 to 60,000, I said,
a mascot. That was I guess for being in that hot suit, because
yeah, and they go crazy. Like, I guess like the top paid mascot, like he climbs on like railings and stuff. Like, yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
The mascot is at the game because of the
players.
I mean, the men already make a lot, but just give that money to the women.
I agree, because come on, babe. Listen.
Speaking of WNBA and you liking it, did you ever have any dreams of wanting to play for the WNBA or either playing professionally basketball? Yeah,
so I actually just had this talk not too long ago with my dad, because that's my bestie, and he really told me, because this is my last year, last full year of eligibility, last ride. He goes, do you see yourself like moving onward and like playing professionally? And I was, throughout these years, it's been something I've really been like thinking about. And I was like, it's like an on and off again thing. So I always tell myself like, nah, Jay, like, you don't want to do it. You're tired. You know, your knees is bad. Like, you've been doing it for 22 years. Just start your life, you know.
Baby.
And I was like, I've been playing this sport for so long. I haven't even gotten a chance to really experience life. So I was just like, you know, maybe I would just, you know, I got my degree. I'm going to finish with my master's, really just start going into my life and seeing how that goes. But then during the summer, I really thought about it. I was like, oh, this is like my last ride. Like, this is all I get. And I just think, like, when I say that, like, my heart just stops. And it's just like, this is the last time I'll ever get to play competitively if I wanted to. And my heart hurts. And it's just, I just feel like in my soul, I generally feel like I'm not done. So for now, I definitely would love to go competitive, play professionally. I would love to go overseas if the opportunity arises itself. I know that would be a whole different plan, but I feel like I would just be grateful just to get a year and a half, 2 years, because I feel like the most thing I would want, like not want to think about, is the what if. Mm-hmm. Like, what if you didn't do it? What if, like, what could have happened if you didn't? Like, what could happen if you did? So if the opportunity arises, I definitely will take it. And I'll just be grateful that I even had the opportunity in the first place.
All right. So how would you describe your basketball game in one word?
I'm gonna do this in my teammates' perspective, since they play me all the time. I would definitely say, it's so funny. As much as I say, like, I'm the bubbly, sociable, outgoing girl, like, on the court, like, I am just literally the most aggressive human being out there.
Oh, aggressive, okay.
Because it's like, my coach goes, I don't even know who you are when you step on the court. And I'm like, baby girl, I don't know either. Like, my mind be blank. I zone out. I'm in the zone. Like, what's my name get called? But I definitely would say I am more of a take it to the basket, get to the basket type of girl. I have a very quick first step.
Ooh, I love that.
No, and I feel like that's one thing that we don't do a lot anymore in women's basketball, and then in basketball in general. Like, I feel like we're really just like a shoot first type of generation, coming from like Stephen Curry and, you know, like Kelsey Plum. Like, yeah. So I feel like I'm more of the old school. I feel like I'm more of like the Alyssa Thomas, like. Okay. To the basket, rebound, defend. My favorite thing to do is defense. I love defending. Like, nothing makes me feel better than taking that charge, getting that steal for a layup, blocking a shot. Like,
oh, I love it. Yes. Like, that's the dog in you. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what gets me going. I try to, because I just know, like, at the end of the day, like, defense wins games. I've always been taught that. I've always, I grew up on that stigma, and I love it. So I'm more about, I started just recently combining like mid-ranges, like mid-range pull-ups, like, because I know I can't get to the basket all the time. So what are some different ways that I can still make an impact on the court if that option gets taken away from me, which is like my number one option of getting to the basket. So I'm having a good time. My training has definitely paid off during the summer. I'm having a great time. I think the thing I love the most about this year is, like, this is my last year. Like, all the training, all the hard work I put in, like, I know I'm meant to be here. I know I'm meant to play. So it's honestly just about having fun at this point. Like, there's always room to grow. But for now, I feel so confident in the work that I put in over these past 4 years to generally say that I'm just out here having fun right now.
That is what I'd like to hear, because you know what they say, when you are happy, you play better. That creates a better player. So good luck to you this season. And, you know, have fun on your last ride. But I did want to ask you, because you spoke about this a lot. And I want to know, having your dad as your coach, you stated that it built your relationship. How has working with your dad all these years prepared you for life that you've had experienced already?
Oh, that is such a great question. Oh, I love this, because I just love talking about this man. He was a big part of it. Like, he was a big component. So I love to give credit where credit is due, whether it's my dad, whether it's my teammates, whether it's my coaches, because I know I didn't do this alone. So he has had such a big impact. I would say the great thing about that process and me being able to be more open with him is like, we don't just talk about basketball, we talk about real life experiences. So along with the basketball, he's seen me at my first job, like he's seen me at my first internship, he's seen my first breakup, like he's seen so many things, and he's helped and he's given me so much advice about those life experiences. And it's funny because he always tells me like, how you like the advice I give you in life is just, it's the same in basketball and vice versa. Like all those feelings and those emotions that you feel in basketball, you're going to feel in life. So he goes, I've already prepared you. You know what I'm saying? So this is just a different game, just in a different time. So it's so nice to see that like the same things that he's been telling me in basketball have like generated throughout my life. And it's so funny because like I'll go through things, you know, like as like a young woman in society, and I'll sit there and I'll be like, huh,
Okay.
he told me about this. He told me this would happen. He already put this in my head. So it's just nice because now I feel like it has given me the opportunity to be more ready, be more, I would say more proactive than reactive in life. Like I genuinely feel like with that bond, it has just honestly made me more prepared, and not even just in basketball, but just in life in general. Because right now with me getting my master's, I just actually finished an internship with Monumental Sports and Entertainment in Washington,
Nice.
D.C. Yep, as a global partnership intern. And I was working with the Mystics a lot. And I was going through stuff because the DC was maybe like an hour out from Baltimore. So I would commute every single day. I would go through struggles of being a woman in sport. I definitely know you understand how crazy that is. Like I had my first look during the summer, and it was hard, and there were some struggles, but it was just so nice to once again have that bond and always have like someone in my ear or close by telling, like, just still giving me that advice that I need to remember, or just hey, do this, remember to do that. So it's so great. I honestly would say, like, for all the future prospective fathers out there who would like to be coaches and like don't really know if they should or not, or don't want to invade their child's space, it is such a great experience. And I honestly wouldn't trade that experience for the world. I myself might even in the future, hopefully, want to give that same experience to my own child, because I genuinely think like that experience and that bond you create with your child is just so unbreakable. And I love it. Like I just love talking about it because I just feel like a lot
of that is great. I am a daddy's girl, so I know that feeling. And if a little girl asked you, speaking of advice, if a little girl came and asked you, anything about basketball, sports, having a dad as a coach, what would be some advice you would give her or him?
Yeah, of course. I would say be patient. Definitely be patient, because while you're learning, I realize while you're learning, they're learning as well. Like they're learning how to coach you. They're learning how to talk to you. They're learning how to transition from being a coach to a father, and father, vice versa. And you're learning as well. Like you're learning how to play basketball. You're learning in school. You're learning how to make new friends. Like there's so much things I feel like people don't understand going on in lives that they just feel like it's so easy. So I definitely would just tell he or she to just be patient with yourself, be patient with your parent if they are your coach, and just have fun. Like I think that's one thing I think people, especially during like the AAU season, like when you're transitioning from middle school to high school and it's getting more competitive, I think people just forget the fun of it. Because I mean, even I myself was just like, okay, it's 7 a.m. I'm playing 3 games today. I'm not going to be done till 8 o'clock. Like it's a hustle, and it is a hard lifestyle. So I definitely would just, my biggest just key forms of advice would just be patient, just have fun with it. Because like you just never know where it's going to take you in life. Like whether you do go on to play collegiately, professionally, or you go into work and you go into the workforce. Like the things you learn in basketball are going to take you into life. So those are my 2 biggest things I would say to someone.
Look at you giving away that good advice. I like it, because sometimes I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it with being patient, because I'm going to tell you right now, I suck at patience. I really, really do. So I'm definitely going to take your advice about being more patient, especially in the workplace and being in women in sports. So Thank you for that, because I'm also that's a big part of who C needs to become. So I greatly appreciate that. And Jalen, I appreciate you coming on Sports Talk with C and coming to share your journey with me. And hopefully we get to do this again. Maybe after that 1.5 year playing professional basketball.
We need like a before and after, like where are you now?
Exactly. You see, you feel me? We definitely need that. I need to have that happen. And I hopefully you meet Diana within the next few years so you can see her. DT, gotta check my girl out here. She would love to meet you. And like I said, Jalen, thank you for coming on Sports Talk with C.
Oh no, thank you so much. This was so much fun. I was a little nervous in the beginning, but you just made this so personable. You made this so hospitable. I felt so comfortable right when I started talking. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.